Okay. Hello, everyone. We're going to do this today. I'm going to read from the Quran. Again, the purpose of these videos is to give documentation that I actually did read the Quran, and I'm not speaking out of my ass, irregardless of what translation this is. The best things in life are free, right? And information is the key to power. And when you don't have all of the factors present in front of you, determining factors anyway, how are you supposed to make any kind of decision? Now, again, the rosary here is some symbolism, because I'm not converting to Islam. Like let's be real about that. I was reminded today of Quebec's secularism laws, and how some people think that's an infringement upon personal rights or the charter. And I don't think that's true. I think Quebec has every right to preserve what culture it does have, even if Quebecers would rather not participate in their own culture for whatever reason. Some sort of shame passed down through inheritance from the parents to the children. And you have to understand the context of Quebec and how important the Catholic Church was, not only in the establishment of Canada, but the culture of Quebec itself, because, well, it used to be New France, right? And France had a huge population of Catholic followers, historically speaking. So the secularism laws were put into place to separate the church from the state, because if those two things start crossing the streams and mixing with each other, then what happens is you get the FLQ crisis. Did anyone ever figure that out? Terrorism or extremism doesn't originate from a religious text. It originates from the resentment and the feelings of bad dealings in which someone wasn't honored for their service. It's a simple thing, recognition. But we don't give recognition to people that don't fit within a certain box, okay? They exist in a glass box, and that glass box has to be shattered occasionally. I'm not saying this is a justification for anything, but that the feminists called it the glass ceiling, right? You can only rise to a certain position in life unless you are a follower of a certain paradigm of thought. And the same thing goes for religious enthusiasm. Let's put it like that. There's people out there that are, I would call them peaceniks, right? They have this rotating soundtrack in their head of why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? And like Imagination by John Lennon and a few other songs from days gone by that used to represent a sentiment in which people wanted to stop conflicts. But how do you stop a conflict from happening? You have to have an intervention. Because if you don't intervene, then the behavior continues and then more harm is done. Not just to an individual, but the repercussions, the secondary, the tertiary, secondary, and tertiary propagation, right? The ripple effects thereafter from the epicenter. And that's the problem, right? That's why one person can really make a difference in this existence on this physical plane, right? And we act like that's we act as if that's like I'm just thinking this through here. We act as if that's the like physical intervention is the last resort, but it isn't, right? It isn't. There are real differences between our culture as Canadians and those of Turkish people. Real cultural differences, not only in the religion, but also in our language and how we think because of neurolinguistic programming. And this is exactly how the imams and these extremist, I wouldn't call them preachers, or apologists. I would call them Shylocks, right? They're not actually of the faith. They're not of the cloth, so to speak, right? And the Catholic Church just recently expelled, or they excommunicated the Society of Saint Pius, right? Because they didn't they were very ultra traditionalist. This sect of Catholicism, like there's different divisions of Christianity, and then there's even smaller sects of like subcultures amongst the religious people, and it can get really confusing. But sometimes they're doing that on purpose. They want to confuse you. They want you to remain in a place where you're not solidified and confident in your belief, so that they have power and control over you. What a shame, really. What a shame. The behaviors of other people. And so the article says people are having to choose between their jobs and their religion. Well, the most ecclesiastical, or what's the word? It's not ecclesiastical. Beyond. It's slipping my mind right now. Anyways, but evangelical. That's it. The most evangelical of us would say differently. They would say that you hold the place that you hold here on earth is indeterminate of your place in heaven. God has a plan for you. God's going to test you. He's going to show you the path, but he's going to tempt you like he did Jesus. He's going to use the devil in order to make you slip up and into fall off the wagon, or to take a less trodden path instead of the well-beaten one. And they'll say to you that this is some sort of discovery that will result in a spiritual epiphany, something along those lines. And this is the stuff of nightmares as portrayed in our media. And the example that I'm going to use is Mandy. And I love Mandy. Mandy's a fucking great film. Oh my lord. Like, what? Poof! Blew my fucking mind, man. And more than one person, too, in which the movie is about jealousy. The movie is about jealousy. And I'm not going to spoil it for you that haven't seen Mandy, but I recommend that you do so. And if you have the opportunity, maybe even take some psychedelics. It's not like mushrooms are an uncommon thing. They grow to the ground. I got my tincture this morning from Anandachaga, which is a small operation in Northern Ontario that produces tinctures and other products derived from mushrooms. So lion's mane, turkey tail, reishi, chaga, that sort of stuff. Therapeutic mushrooms. It's a big difference between taking the fruit of knowledge and then consuming the entire tree. I like raw sugar, but it doesn't dissolve as well as white sugar does. Anyway, so I'm going to read from Surah 77. And of course, I had read Surah 76 in previous, I don't know, this was months ago. And 77 is very short. Actually, the few of them are. So I'm going to do, I'll do 3 of them. I think that's going to be easy. That's going to be an easy one. So I'm going to read Surah 77 through to 80. So this one is Al-Mursalat, the emissaries. Now, what they're trying to do, and I forget what the president's name, Bergdan, something like that. My apologies to you. For my ignorance. I give respect to positions, because, well, why wouldn't you? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Pretty easy, Unfucking believable. Anyways, in the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. So we'll start. Again, this lapse in cognitive function, excuse me, is not from ADD, it's from a head injury. And it's a consequence of being held in a prison. On remand. I was being held hostage. Okay? So the scales were not balanced. And I'm not saying that Sharia law is of a terrorist or an extremist orientation, but I do know that a lot of people from Turkey flee Turkey because they're gay. And so the president is really trying. I watched this thing like a few days ago. The president was a soccer player. He's really into athleticism. And he's trying to Islamify Turkey, right? They're building dozens of mosques all over the place. And I don't see how that's any different than, say, someone trying to convert or to reestablish Christianity in the United States. Like a Baptist revival or something like that. What I'm really getting at here is sometimes you need an emissary. You need someone to talk between the two of you because there's so much bad blood. And it is not even your fault as the individual. It's just you as a person. Okay, let's start this again. In the name of God, the most beneficent and the most merciful. By the emissary winds sent one after another, by the raging hurricanes, by those which cause earth's vengeance to revive, vegetation to revive, by those who winnow with a winnowing, by those who bring down the reminder, to excuse or to warn, surely that which you are promised will befall. So when the stars are put out, and when the sky is driven asunder, and when the mountains are blown away, and when the messenger's time has come, for what day is the time appointed? For the day of decision. And what will convey to you is the day of decision is, woe to the repudiators on that day. Destroyed, we not the former folk, then cause the latter folk to follow after. Thus deal we ever with the guilty. Woe to the repudiators on that day. Did we not create you from the base fluid in which we laid up in a safe abode for a known term? Thus we arranged. How excellent is our arranging! Woe to the repudiators on that day. Have we not made the earth a receptacle for both the living and the dead, and placed therein high mountains, and given you to drink sweet water therein? Woe to the repudiators on that day. It will be said to them, depart that punishment which you used to deny, depart to the shadow failing threefold, which yet is, neither relief nor shelter from the flame. Lo, it throws up sparks like the castles, or as it might be camels of bright yellow hue. Woe to the repudiators on that day. This is a day wherein they speak not, nor are they suffered to put forth excuses. Woe to the repudiators on that day. This is the day of decision. We have brought you and the men of old together. If now you have any wit, outwit me. Woe to the repudiators on that day. Lo, those who kept their duties are amid the shade and fountains, and fruit such as they desire. To them it is said, eat, drink, and welcome, O you blessed, in return for what you did. Thus do we reward the good. Woe to the repudiators on that day. Eat and take your ease on earth a little. Lo, you are guilty. Woe to the repudiators on that day. When it is said to them, bow down, they bow not down. Woe to the repudiators on that day. In what statement after this will they believe? So, what I think of Surah 77 is it's talking about Judgment Day. I face Judgment Day. I face multiple Judgment Days. And I pass with flying colors. There is no argument to my resolve or my person. The variable happens to be everybody else. I just need to get them in line. Anyways, Surah 78. But I'm still thinking about that. I'm still digesting it. Again, the novelty of this is that I have not ever read the Quran before. Not even once. Anna Naba, the tidings. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Whereof do they question one another? It is of the awful tidings concerning which they are in disagreement. Nay, but they will come to know. Nay, again, but they will have to come to know. Have we not made the earth an expanse, and the high hills bulwarks? And we have created you in pairs, and have appointed your sleep for repose, and have appointed the night as a cloak, and have appointed the day for livelihood. And we have built above you 7 strong heavens, and have appointed a dazzling lamp, and have sent down from the rainy clouds abundant water, thereby to produce grain and plant, and garden of thick foliage. Lo, the day of decision is a fixed time, a day which the trumpet is blown, and you come in multitudes, and the heaven is opened and becomes as gates, and the hills are set in motion and become as a mirage. Lo, hell lurks in ambush, a home for the rebellious. They will abide therein for ages. Therein they taste neither coolness nor any drink except the boiling water and a paralyzing cold, reward portioned to their evil deeds. For lo, they looked not for a reckoning. They called our revelations false with a strong denial. Everything have we recorded in a book. So taste of that which you have earned. No increase do we give you except of torment. Lo, for the duteous is achievement, gardens enclosed and vineyards and maidens for companions and a full cup. There hear they never vain discourse nor lying requital from your Lord, a gift in payment. Lord of the heavens and the earth and all that is between them, the beneficent, with whom none can converse. On the day when the angels and the spirits stand arrayed, they speak not, except him who the beneficent allows and who speaks right. That is the true day. So whoever will should seek recourse to his Lord. Lo, we warn you of a punishment at hand, a day whereon a man will look on that which his own hands have sent before, and the disbeliever will cry, would that I were dust. Surah 79. Those who drag forth. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. By those who drag forth to destruction, by the meteors rushing, by the lone stars floating, by the angels hastening, and those who govern the event, on the day when the first trumpet resounds and the second follows it. On that day, hearts beat painfully while eyes are downcast. Now they are saying, shall we really be restored to our first state, even after we are crumbled bones? They say, that would be a vain proceeding. Surely it will need but one shout, and lo, they will be awakened. Has there come to you the history of Moses? How his Lord called him in the holy vale of Tuwa, saying, go you to Pharaoh, lo, he has rebelled, and say to him, have you to purify yourself? Then I will guide you to your Lord, and you shall fear him. And he showed him the tremendous sign. But he denied and disobeyed, that turned he away in haste. Then gathered he his people, and summoned and proclaimed, I, Pharaoh, am your Lord, the highest. So God seized him and made him an example for the afterlife and for the former. Lo, herein is indeed a lesson for him who fears. And you, the harder to create, or is the heaven that he built? He raised the height thereof, and proportioned it. He darkened the night thereof, and he extracted its brightness. And after that he spread the earth, and produced from it its water and its pasture, and he made fast for the hills, as a provision for you and for your cattle. But when the great disaster comes, the day when man will call to mind his whole endeavor, and hell will stand forth visible to him who sees, then, as for him who rebelled and chose the life of the world, lo, hell will be his home. But as for him who feared to stand before his Lord and restrained his soul from lust, the garden will be his home. They ask for you the hour when it will come to port. Why, ask they, what have you to tell them thereof? To your Lord belongs knowledge of the term thereof. You are but a warner to him who fears it. On the day when they behold it, it will be as they had but tarried, Tarried, I haven't seen that word in years. But tarried for evening or the morn thereof. Okay, so that was Surah 77 through to Surah 80. And now we can close this chapter and move on with the rest of the volume. There's some things that you can take back, and then there's things that you can't, because of the ripple effect. And one day, judgment will come for all of us. But I'm in no hurry to get there. But there are people that are. And they are the most dangerous. I'm not interested in staying on this physical plane for all of eternity. If we're going to talk about the metaphysical worlds and religious belief. I don't want to live forever. I find that much like the Buddhists say, that life is suffering and life is full of traps. And most of the problems don't originate from yourself, in my opinion. They originate from external influences. Because if you have a relationship with God, then you have the utmost confidence. And again, this is actually an argument for religious belief and not atheism. Things just don't spontaneously assemble themselves. You have to put reactive elements next to each other in order for combustion to take place. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. That's how you make my engine go. You think I forgot after all these years? Anyway, some of this is really cryptic, and if it doesn't make any sense to you, then the message is not for you. Many are called, few are chosen. Anyways, thank you, Father, for this day and those thereafter. May I serve your purpose. Amen.